Hey there, my name is Joe McGee and I'm the author of the Creature Campers series by Epic Originals and Andrews McMeel Publishing, illustrated by B. Tormo. So this series of books follows 4 characters who are campers at Camp Moonlight, a camp for unusual creatures, monsters, located in the woods. Their motto is, where being different is not unusual, it's fun-usual. Our 4 main characters are Norm, which is short for ginormous. He's a Bigfoot. Oliver, who is the son of 2 forest rangers, a human boy. Wisp, a fairy. And Hazel, a jackalope. And if you don't know what a jackalope is, it's a rabbit with deer antlers. So, the first book is The Secret of Shadow Lake. And in this book, not only do the campers meet for the first time, they have to take their canoe tests, and there's a lake creature. There's also a particularly nefarious fellow, you can see him kind of lurking behind the tree there, by the name of Barnaby Snoop, who's always trying to catch the creatures. He wants a Bigfoot for his zoo. The book we're going to read from today is Surprise Under the Stars, and I'll share a bit of that with you. And the third book comes out in September 15th, and that is called The Wall of Doom, and it has to do with an obstacle course. But let's dive in to the second book. You don't have to have read the other one to jump in and get familiar and love these characters. A lot of fun. So let's begin. Surprise Under the Stars, Chapter 1. Norm tossed and turned in his bunk. He rolled to the right and his blanket fell off. He rolled to the left and his sheets crumpled into a bunch. He stretched. His head hit the wall and his feet fell off the end of the bed. Being a Bigfoot has bed problems. Norm had no idea that any of this was happening. He was fast asleep and dreaming of a giant berry casserole. Norm loves berry casserole. But Norm was the only one asleep. It was the second night of camp, and not everyone at Camp Moonlight was as relaxed as the sleeping Bigfoot. Oliver buried his head under his pillow. "I can't sleep," he moaned. "I keep thinking I hear something out there in the dark." Wisp pushed his mop of hair up and out of his eyes. "Me too," he said. "It's so dark. It's scary." "You don't think there's something out there, do you?" asked Oliver. Something cracked outside their window. "It's a monster!" Wisp shrieked. "Norm!" Oliver shouted. "Wake up!" Norm bolted awake. He sat up so fast, he bumped his head on Oliver's mattress. Oliver shot out of his bunk and flew across the room, where he landed in a tangled pile with Wisp and his blankets. Wisp and Oliver tumbled to the floor while Norm rubbed his head in a daze. "Good morning, creature campers," said their camp counselor, Xenomorph, who was standing in their open cabin doorway. "Whew," said Wisp. "Not a monster." "But it's not," began Oliver. "Morning," said Norm. Hazel bounded into their cabin, thumping circles around them. "It's morning. Good morning," she said. "Early morning. Really early morning. You should see the stars. Are you making a fort? Are you having a pillow fight? Pillow fights are fun." "We're not having a pillow fight," said Norm. "Or building a fort," mumbled Wisp. "It was so dark I couldn't sleep," said Oliver. "I kept hearing things outside." "I thought there were monsters," Wisp said. Norm rubbed his eyes. "Noises? Monsters? I was dreaming of a delicious berry casserole." "Funny that you should mention berry casserole," said Xena, "because that's exactly what awaits you if you can successfully complete your map and compass skills test." Norm grinned. "Well then, what are we waiting for?" Wisp and Oliver hit him with their pillows. "Pillow fight!" yelled Hazel. Xena groaned and buried her face in her hands. A little picture of a delicious berry casserole. If you're not hungry now, now you are. The stars were still, chapter 2, I should say. The stars were still bright in the sky when Xena led the creature campers to the camp moonlight flagpole. Furrow Grumplestick, the grumpy gnome who was their camp director, stood there waiting for them, clipboard in hand. "Time's a-wastin', campers," said Grumplestick. Xena pushed the campers forward. "There was a pillow fight," said Hazel. Grumplestick scribbled something onto his clipboard. He did not seem amused. That's Xena. That's their camp counselor. As you could tell, she is an alien. And there is Grumplestick down there in the corner. "Today," he said, "you will learn basic map and compass skills." "Map?" said Oliver. "Like a treasure map?" "Well, that's one kind of map," said Grumplestick. "Is the treasure buried?" asked Wisp. "It's not buried," said Grumplestick. "Nothing is buried." "So there is a treasure?" asked Norm. "Yes," said Xena. "No," said Grumplestick at the same time. "Yes? No? Which is it? Yes or no?" "No or yes? Is it treasure that's not buried? Or is it something buried that's not treasure?" asked Hazel. "I told them about the berry casserole," Xena whispered. "I see," said Grumplestick. "Well, if you can successfully navigate your way to 3 checkpoints using the stars, a map, and a compass, you will not only get your Camp Moonlight Map and Compass Skills certification, but you will also get berry casserole!" shouted Norm. "Berry casserole," said Grumplestick, "along with an entire picnic spread." Norm's stomach grumbled. "The first step is to follow the North Star," said Grumplestick. Xena pointed to a star shining over their heads in the dark sky. "That," she said, "is the North Star." Norm, Oliver, Wisp, and Hazel gazed at the bright white star. Norm was pretty sure that it was the same star that shone through his cave window back home. "So," said Grumplestick, "follow the North Star until you reach the first checkpoint, a stone table. There you will find a map and the instructions for finding your way to the second checkpoint. At the second checkpoint, you will find a compass. Use the compass to guide you to the third and final checkpoint. Any questions?" Norm raised his hand. "Yes," Grumplestick said. "Will we be allowed to have seconds of that berry casserole?" Norm asked. Xena shook her head and sighed. Grumplestick drew his eyebrows together and scribbled something on his clipboard. "Begin," he said. "We'll be waiting at the last checkpoint with the picnic spread. And if you don't arrive by noon, more berry casserole for us." He grinned through his beard. As Grumplestick and Xena walked away, Norm did not grin back. So, that is the beginning of Surprise Under the Stars. And the campers, and here's a little, as they get prepared to follow the North Star, have to hit these 3 checkpoints. But what they don't know is that Barnaby Snoop is concocting a plan with a giant magnet to trick and trap the creatures. Do they get caught? Do they get to the 3 checkpoints? Do they get the berry casserole? And if they do they get seconds? Those are some of the questions that await you in Surprise Under the Stars. Thank you for sharing a read with me. I hope you enjoyed. Again, I am Joe McGee, the author of the Creature Camper series, and I hope you're all well, safe, and I wish you the happiest of reading.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to Gotham Reads for more of your favorite children's books read aloud daily.